Hello and welcome to the Joyful Rebels podcast. We've got Claire and Donna Thomas here, your mother-daughter duo. Here at the Joyful Rebels podcast, we offer science-backed wellness tips, and we also couple that with our own experience. We like to share some ideas of what works for us, thinking that it might work for you too. But as always, the disclaimer, you're going to try something out, right? You're going to try it on. It might work, it might not. That's data. That's science that you're learning about yourself, right? We're all scientists here, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Uh, so that being said, we've got over 75 episodes in our catalog if you've checked it out. Some of them are happy. We talk about play and gratitude and yoga and decluttering and active listening and whoo, so many. Some of the topics are a little on the heavier side. We talk about how to get out of your head if you're overthinking, how to have a hard conversation. We talk about regret and
Mhm.
negative emotions. So we have gone through a laundry list of topics. So probably if you have a wellness topic that you're interested in, go and check out that catalog. Like I said, over 75 episodes. This week, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to do what I'm calling Ask the Joyful Rebels. So I'm going to present a question here. And then, Mom, you and I are going to reflect on it. Because then, just to refresh, as I just said, we're a mother daughter duo here. So we've got, different generations. We come with our own experience, our own backgrounds. We both do have backgrounds in the sciences. We read this research, but we've got that lived experience as well. And I feel like at some level, we are successful, right? That's one of the reasons we like to share what we do. We've tried these things, we've seen what's work, and we want to share that with you that's listening. So, I'm going to start by reading this question, Mom, and then I'd love to hear your response. So, question is, what is one practice or habit you've adopted that has had a profound impact on your overall well-being?
Hmm. Okay. I love it when you say name one because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, I have two. Uh,
you
yeah, yeah,
would.
yeah. I can't. The first thing that comes to mind is that I would have considered myself a gray area drinker with alcohol, and when I took a look at my relationship with alcohol, my entire life changed.
Mm,
It really did. I'm coming up on 4 years of being alcohol free, and I every single aspect of my life has gotten better. And again, I had no external challenges with that. It was just all that kind of those quiet moments when I'm in the shower, like, I don't know if this is working for me. I think there's more in my life, and I wondered if that was contributing or taking away. And there's a whole lot more to be said about this, and we've mentioned it in prior podcasts, but I could not let that go, knowing that this is if the question is being asked what some of the top priority ones are, you guys are going to know. Nobody's ever going to tell you you have to go look at that, but we're saying as friends, as
mm,
as friends, that's why we share this information. It's like the girlfriend thing. Like you got a good sale on something, you share that with somebody else. I mean, that's part of the heart space of why we have these conversations. And it would be a disservice if I didn't bring that up and say that that has been a game changer. We've seen an explosion of it in social media where people are talking about it more. Love it. And it has changed everything, and it made me allowed me to go from being overwhelmed in a place and a career that was no longer serving me to now being the healthiest I've ever been. I'll be 62 next month, and I feel like I have purpose in my life, and that was a big contributor. So that's the one of the one two. The second one would be faith, the ability to or the opportunity to take a look at the possible role that faith can play in your life. And here's what I wanted to say about that, because it's changed everything for me, especially with purpose in life. You guys, you're not going to get to your 20s, 30s, 50s, wherever you are, without having either some experience, and it could be that you had none. That is an experience. You had no faith-based teachings as a kid. Some of us had very definite messages that were sent to us, and maybe even specific religions that we were involved in. And where I've landed with that is, our parents and the people that raised us in our communities, they did the best they could, and they gave us what they knew. And that's cool. And maybe you're still doing the things that you did, that you grew up with, and that you have a long history with. That's cool. the majority of people that I talk with, there's usually a break in there where as adults, you get a chance to then question and wonder what kinds of things do you want to carry into your adulthood. And I just really want to give you the space and the urgings to, as you have these bigger questions that you ask yourself as you get older, and that does happen. You start asking like, what about this? Or, like what's the point? And you get these
Mm,
bigger existential kind of questions that, regardless of what you knew and what your foundation was, you get a chance to go explore again when it's your choice. When it's your choice to go like, do I want this in my life? How do I want it to look? What does it look like? And I encourage you to go explore that. And if one of the things that helps us live longer and happier lives is community, that's another way to get a really great community. And it's been a game changer for me. And it's one I didn't think I needed. So, gosh, Claire, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know we had Kimberly Spring Glick on, who did the Wheel of Well-being, and she had 6 different elements and ways to be well in our lives. When I did that wheel, the 2 that stuck out for me were how you move, fuel, and rest. And that when I looked at my food, that's when my nutritional stuff came up, and I looked at, is alcohol helping? So
mm,
it prioritized it and it brought it to the surface where I could name it.
yep.
And then also from a spiritual side, and I was like, gosh, I'm not doing anything in that sphere right now. It just wasn't. It wasn't active. It was really an atrophied part of my life. And I made the conscious choice that I wanted that to be a bigger role.
Mhm.
So to get some help with prioritizing what you want in your life, that's why we have these conversations. So it might be that you can live your life and you'll be just fine. But Claire and I both are like, we don't want to be just fine. We want to live our lives to the fullest. We want to have robust, healthy lives in all the different ways that we show up in the world. And it takes refining, it takes um, changing behaviors. Some things work in your life until they don't work.
Mm.
And you have the power and the choices to be able to make different changes. And it's not over. As long as you woke up and you're still breathing, you can make different changes. And we want to just encourage you to stay curious and to do that. Right, Claire?
Yeah, what I heard you say a few different times was purpose. And I think that really resounds with me hearing that because uh, like you said, it was kind of unexpected what you're figuring out, what you're uncovering. And yeah, we had Kimberly Springlick on here. If you go to that episode in our catalog, we actually shared the Wheel of Well-being as well as access to a masterclass about uncovering, going through the steps and like looking at those different steps in your wellness. So that's interesting that you said it was the food, which alluded to the alcohol, and then the spirituality. I feel I also had that checked off. For me, it was a real stark show of how little sleep I was getting when I really zoomed in. But also with the spirituality, because like you said, community. When I first took that Wheel of Well-being, when I first analyzed it, it was during COVID time. And so
Mm.
that's when there was like zero connection in person. Like we were doing that wellness advisor course over Zoom and just really just seeing it on paper, like, wow, like I need to, even if it's going outside, like at a park and meeting up with the mom friend, like sometimes you don't realize till you really take a look. So I definitely appreciate you saying that. And I love how you said, it's like friends, like you want to share this information because I 100% feel the same way. All the little ladies on the block, I'll go and share if there's a plant sale going on. I said you share when the sales are like, I'm like, oh, Lowe's right now, like 50% off this. So absolutely. So this is why we want to share this information with y'all because it's been interesting and worked for us and it might work for you and it might be something. So it's interesting to me because I had the same one of the same responses as you, mom. So we didn't plan this out
Mm.
beforehand. We had an idea of like the topics and the questions that we're going to ask in this little series, but I had the same answer and it was cutting out alcohol. And congrats on the 4 years. I just hit my 2 year mark. So I'm like,
Woo.
woo, we're riding that train. But you know, referencing again that you said you share this information like your friends. If someone would have shared this with me 2+ years ago, it was one of those like I would smile and kind of, yeah, okay, whatever, and just, no thanks and then file it away. So it's this idea of, planting a seed. And we even had we've had talks before, Mom, about how much we should even share about this idea of not drinking. Can it, because it can be a polarizing thing. And, if you do take a peek at it, maybe in one of your quiet moments, maybe you're not going to love what you see, but that's okay. The idea is just to take a look, because coming back and circling back to the question, this had a profound impact on me. I'm going to echo what you said, Mom, and every aspect of my life has improved. Um, my energy is better. My sleep is better. I used to call myself an anxious person as if it was this permanent label or mask that I wore. That's not true anymore.
Mhm.
I have what I would say is a normal amount of anxiety, just being a busy mom, woman in this world. Um, and purpose. I'm going to come back to that one more time. I feel like when I had alcohol involved in my life, I was okay. I was fine. I was going through the motions, but I didn't have that deeper level of like, what am I here for? What is my purpose? And by removing that from my life, it's just really opened my eyes. And so, again, no one here is telling you what to do. We're sharing what worked for you because we care about you. And because honestly, as we said in this question, it's had such a profound impact on both our lives. If you're going to ask me in the next 10 years what's going to be the biggest wellness trend, I really think it's going to be people reevaluating their relationship with alcohol. I don't know. We've said that before. What do you
Mhm.
think, Mom?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's it's where we fall in the historical timeline
Mm,
of the behaviors that are socially acceptable. And the world's a dynamic place, which is why we keep bringing up a variety of subjects, because everything's always in flux and is changing. And the time when I came into this season to look at this issue, you came into it a little different time. So like we're all going to have our own experience here.
yeah.
But it's really we're trying to get to the place where we feel good and we can show up consistently. And if time is our most precious currency,
Mm,
I don't want to waste any more. I don't want to waste any more feeling like lower ebb or not quite the same type of energy or worrying about being anxious or just any of it. So we start to look at ways that we can show up and I trust our wisdom on this. That you're going to know. You're going to know the things that you're going to need to look at in your time. And when it is your decision to say like, oh, I'm going to spend a little bit of time putting some bandwidth and thinking about this,
mm,
the answers and the desire and the awareness start to come to you. And don't be afraid of that. Even if you don't like what you see immediately, whether it's from physical fitness, whether it's from your nutritional habits, whether it's from, however you show up in the world, if you don't like what you see right now, you can change that. You have the tools. If you have the desire and you have some awareness, you can change things up here. So it's not over. So if there's one thing that we can be for you, not only are we giving you like the girlfriend talk, we want you to know the things
mm.
that we've been learning is that there's hope. There's
Yes.
hope to make changes, even if you're in challenging relationships, whatever it looks like for you. We're not saying it's easy, but there is hope. You can make changes. You can live the life that you feel like you're supposed to be living based on your purpose and how you want to be in the world. And when we can do that, everybody elevates. And I'm excited about the collective on that as we begin to get honest and to have the tools at the ready to ask the
Hmm.
right questions and start making some movement. So be bold. That's part of being a joyful rebel. It's not being angry or stuck. It's being like, I'm just going to boldly like try some different stuff. And if that didn't work, I'm going to try something different,
Hmm.
but I'm going to do something. And sometimes like it is for me with especially the alcohol thing right now in this day and age, it feels a little counterculture
Hmm.
and that is rebellious. But I'm going to do it anyway because I love that. Well, I can't remember exactly what the phrase is, but it's like, like quiet women rarely make history. Like usually it's the ones that are doing something big and bold and different. And in my corner of the world, that was really bold and different. And I feel really good about it because now I get to be a resource for other people when they're having a challenge because they know part of my story. And I'm guessing it's the same for you too, Claire, that once people know kind of what you've been through, we're way more connected because lots of us are struggling with lots of different things.
Absolutely. I've been really amazed at the conversations I've had in person when this does come up, and just to hear, and it's another way to connect with someone.
Mm,
If you think you're alone, you're not alone.
mm-mm.
You're not alone. So, we really hope that you enjoyed this first iteration of Ask the Joyful topic that you want us to chat about, to dive into, we would be more than happy to hear it. So you can always go through our social media, Instagram or Facebook, send us a message. We'd love to hear from you.
Totally.
And until next time, Rebels.